What does it mean to live more with less? I'm Katie Wells, and welcome to the Maximized Minimalist Podcast. If you found yourself caught up in the hamster wheel of modern-day motherhood and want to rewrite the script, congratulations, you're in the right place. I'm here to be your guide and help you take back your motherhood and achieve a simpler, more joy-filled life. Cheers to being a maximized minimalist. Enjoy the show. Let's talk about clutter. We love to, don't we? And I'm not talking about the stuff piling up on your counters or the laundry chair in your bedroom, but I'm talking about what's really going on underneath, because clutter isn't just about what you can see. It is an onion, and every layer you peel back reveals something deeper. Maybe at first you're clearing surface clutter, right? Those easy wins are valuable. They feel satisfying in the moment. They can lead to progress, momentum, all the things. But then you might start to notice, why does this stuff keep creeping back? Why am I decluttering the same spaces over and over? Or why am I struggling to let go of some of these things that I know on paper are clutter, yet I can't let them go? So here's the thing. If we don't do the deeper work, if we don't address the emotional and psychological and identity-driven roots of clutter, we are going to stay stuck in that exhausting cycle. Declutter, reclutter, declutter, reclutter. But when you approach decluttering holistically, something shifts. You're not just clearing stuff, you're clearing beliefs, expectations, emotional and mental baggage too. And this is where the real magic happens. When you start to see lasting results and finally feel free. Free from the overwhelm, free from the guilt, the shame, the weight of things that were never really about the things to begin with. As I always say, it runs deepeth, right? And that brings me to a comment I got recently from one of my club members, Crissy, who hit on something so profound. I was literally so proud of her when she shared this. She shared how she accumulated so many books over the years, and she recognized and said, Katie, each one of these books is like a visual representation of an insecurity that I was trying to solve through buying the book. And she bought the book. She'd then pick up the book thinking this is it. This is going to help me overcome this thing. And in her case, it was an insecurity. It's going to solve this problem. I'll finally feel like I have my life together. We all do this in some shape or form. This is just her example. And in that moment when she purchased it, part of her brain was satisfied, problem solved, right? Except life gets busy. So the books sit there unread. They're on her nightstand. And it's not just a stack of books on her nightstand. It is now loaded with so much meaning, right? Subconscious meaning. For a lot of us, it's a symbol of an unmet expectation of goals she's not reaching because she still has the same insecurities. She hasn't read the books, right? And with that comes a wave of guilt, frustration, shame. We all know how the story ends. And she's thinking, why did I buy this if I'm not even going to read it? Why can't I make the time? But here's the kicker, okay? Here's where just getting curious is so impactful. It doesn't stop here. Instead of facing that guilt, what we often do, and this is what Crissy noticed, is that she will go out and buy another book for another problem, hoping, this one will be the solution. And the cycle starts all over again. It continues. And so let's talk about the thought of decluttering those books. Now put yourself in Crissy's position. It's not just as simple as dropping them off at the donation center, because to her, letting go of those books feels like letting go of a dream. If I donate this book that I never read, I spent $20-$30 on it, the one I thought would fix this problem, help me reach this certain goal or whatever, then what? That just means I'm giving up on myself. So the books stay, they sit there every day and they taunt her. They're not just clutter. They are a constant reminder of those insecurities, unmet expectations, and in her case, massive gap between where she is now and where she wants to be. And this isn't just about books. Think about the workout clothes you bought, promising yourself you'd start exercising. A lot of us, we're heading into exercise season in January. Let's refocus on our goals. These are all really great things. But so many of us have experienced this before, especially with exercise. Or the kitchen gadgets. Maybe you bought those to cook healthier meals. You've got stuff that's not just stuff. It's tied to the identity you're striving for. Can you relate to that? I bet you can, because this is such a common cycle. And this is where it gets layered and nuanced. And it's why it's so much more than the physical stuff, and why checklists and like really basic, generalized, like old school hacks or strategies or methods, like they don't fit the bill, because those are designed for people who don't really struggle with clutter to begin with. Like truly, it's about the stories we attach to our stuff, the identities we're clinging to, and the emotions. And today, I want to peel back those layers, help you get to the heart of why you're holding on to things that aren't serving you, so you can finally break free. So Crissy's story is so powerful because, again, it's not just about the books. This pattern shows up everywhere, I promise you. Maybe for you, it's workout gear. Maybe it's that aspirational blender or closet filled with clothes that still have the tags on it. Ooh, that stings, right? That was me. The clothes was a big one. We all have those items tied to an identity that we are chasing. And in the moment, buying it feels like we're solving a problem. And sometimes it can. Like, I've read books that I bought to solve a problem or help me reach a goal. I read the book and then I was like, great. I mean, it either helped or it didn't. Maybe the book was no good. I donated it. Maybe the book was great. And I took mental notes. I took cliff notes and then I donated it, right? But that's the reality. Stuff can help us reach our goals. It's like what's happening in this gray area that causes so much like internal dialogue, conflict, and internal like negotiation process. When it sits there unused, collecting dust, and suddenly, like again, it's not just clutter. It's the symbol of a person we think we should be, or perhaps we want to be, but aren't living up to. And clutter isn't random. Maybe you see yourself as the mom who's like super organized, or the one who finally gets in shape come January, or the one who's going to be this amazing chef whipping up healthy meals every night. So what do? You buy the planner, the workout clothes, the fancy blender. And for a moment, just a moment, you feel closer to that version of yourself. Like that's the dopamine hit we are getting. This is what I want you to understand. That's the brain hit. It's like, yes, I'm solving this problem. I'm becoming that person. I'm getting closer to my goals. But then we know what happens. The planner collects dust. If I had a dime for every student who's come into my world and said, like, look at these 8 billion planners that I've had, I never use them, right? And then again, we feel guilty, all the things. The workout clothes, maybe they stay folded in the drawer, the blender still in the box. And instead of solving the problem, we've added more clutter, emotional and physical. And that's heavy because those things, they carry this emotional weight and it's hard. Like, it really, really is. And I feel like it's such a disservice to ourselves to shame ourselves for struggling with clutter because we're human. So part of this conversation today, I really hope just allows you to give yourself permission to like give yourself grace, right? Give yourself grace. Why did I even buy this if I'm not going to use it? What's wrong with me that I can't stick to my goals? Why do I keep doing this to myself? If these are the conversations you are constantly having in your head, we need to work on that. We need to challenge those with some positive statements, healthier thoughts, affirmations, whatever you want to do. I promise you, those can serve a really big purpose, especially in this case, in this circumstance. And here's what's even harder. Back to Crissy's book example. It's like we can't declutter the thing if there's a belief that we're really clinging to underneath the stuff. Again, for Crissy, she was like, well, if I donate this book I never read, I'm admitting I'll never be fixed, right? Or, some version of that. I'll never become the person I want to be. So it's tied to our hopes, our insecurities, our belief. And it's sneaky. You think, okay, maybe the book didn't work. Maybe the next one will, et cetera, et cetera. So this is why I'm so passionate about a holistic approach to decluttering, because when you focus on the physical clutter and the surface level strategies, again, you're going to get some results, but you're constantly going to declutter to reclutter. And you're missing the deeper work. You're missing the bigger opportunity to address the emotional roots, the identity ties, the beliefs that keep you stuck. So when you do this holistically, you're not just clearing up space in your home, you're clearing up space in your mind and in your heart. And all of my students who get the best results are ones who do these strategies we're talking about and look at clutter as a holistic thing versus just, I'm supposed to declutter to have a tidy home. You're freeing yourself from the weight of those unmet expectations, of the guilt, of the shame, of the constant pressure to be someone you're not even sure you want to be anymore. And I think the best part is when you do this work, the results last. You're not stuck in that endless loop of doing it time and time again and constantly like just kicking yourself over it. Because again, you pulled the weed out by the root. This is what we do as simplifiers in our community. You rewired the beliefs that were keeping you stuck. So if this is resonating with you right now and you're like, Katie, I'm in, in like, what's the first step? I want to give you a couple strategies to try right now. Now, number one, this is going to be controversial. These are, by the way, are in no way, shape, or form. Like, it's not prioritized by like importance, but this is really controversial from a declutter guru perspective. But I think it, when done right and when used the right way, it's very powerful. And that is the maybe box. All right. I remember years ago when I was trying to declutter my home, one of the really popular declutter experts at the time was like super anti maybe boxes. She was like, you need to just make the choice. It's yes or it's no. It needs to be very clear. And guess what? When I had a very weak, so to speak, declutter muscle, my brain, right? I was like, I didn't know. So when we don't know, what do? We keep it. If we're not confident in letting go, we keep it every single time. That's just the way it works. So I kept the bulk of my things. And so if you're struggling to let go of, let's just say, books like Crissy, because it feels tied to your identity or dream, or putting it in that maybe box, this takes the pressure off making a permanent decision right away. And you can revisit those books in a month or two or see how you feel. Now, of course, as I always say, but I'll say it plain and clear, if you haven't gotten it so far, in order to declutter the thing, you have to start with the belief. So if you never tackle it at its root, the belief in this case, the maybe box isn't going to do you much good. You'll revisit it in a month or two and you'll be like, I'm still not ready, right? So it's this evaluation. And before you know it, you will come back to that maybe box, set a reminder in your calendar for a month and go, you know what? I completely forgot about these books. Not only did I completely forget about them, but there was such reduced mental clutter because they weren't on my nightstand every night telling me that I'm a failure for not reading them, or carving out time for them, or whatever, implementing the tips and becoming this newer, better version of myself. And that is worth its weight in gold. Yes, we're clearing physical space, but to have that mental clutter gone, I'm telling you, this is what it's about. Number two is to ask different questions. Instead of asking yourself, like, do I love this? Or does this spark joy? Ask, is this item actively supporting the life I want to live right now? And that shift in perspective can make all the difference. Maybe you've heard the phrase, and I remind myself of this all the time, you need to ask better questions to get better answers. And then three, start small, because I know you're thinking, oh gosh, well, I know the category that I want to tackle, but it feels overwhelming, because oftentimes there's a large volume of this by design. Makes sense. So begin with areas that feel, if possible, less emotionally charged. Maybe it's kitchen gadgets, maybe it's old notebooks or planners, and you can build momentum by tackling these low stake items before moving on to the bigger identity tied clutter, like Crissy's books. So if this is hitting home and you're like, yes, I need help with this deeper work, I would love to invite you to join my waitlist for my one-on-one coaching program called the Inner Circle. I have not opened this up for almost 8 years. It has been closed. So the waitlist is open to join. And if you sign up for the waitlist, I will let you know right away when seats are open, which will be very soon. And this program, this is where we do that work together. This is about uncovering those emotional layers, rewiring the beliefs that keep you stuck so that you can finally create lasting change in your home and in your life. It is a small, intimate group. These are some of my favorite people in the world inside my Inner Circle community. So spots are very limited, but if you're ready to finally break free from this cycle, this is your chance. So I hope you use the tips today, implement the tips today. And if you know you need that accountability, that extra support, and to be able to acknowledge that, first of all, is super awesome. That's the first step, right? Then join the waitlist and I'll let you know when it's open. And I'd love to be able to support you in this journey. In the meantime, you know what to do. Ready, set, simplify. See you next Wednesday. Bye.